the kids I was hanging with, because I was using, were doing violence. And I didn't want to do violence, but I didn't want violence done to me. So I hung out with some of the most violent kids I could find for protection. And I was scared for my life every time I walked through the Clark Park. So I started, carrying a knife, and other kids were carrying guns. It got worse than that years later. Like in the 80s, a lot of gangs came into Detroit, and I was out of Detroit in the 80s. 9 years ago, partnered up with the Heidelberg Project. It's my home and studio and sculpture garden. My name's Tim Burke. My art in here, much like myself, is from the city, which has been demolished, if you will, or a lot of the historical buildings have been demolished in the last 25 years. Much like a metaphor for my own life in terms of growing up in an alcoholic, addicted family system that was, violent and everything that goes along with it. So having put the pieces back together within myself, not totally, this is a lifetime process, my art kind of speaks of that metaphorically on a city level, and I'm sure throughout the industrialized world. For instance, this sculpture here. This sculpture is made with metal from the Studebaker Car Company. Studebaker, I think they were here in like 1916. They left in 1947. And then that building opened up as the Paquette Market. It was a meat and fish market. So there's metal from that. There's metal from the J.L. Hudson's building downtown Detroit, which they imploded. And there was metal from the Packard plant. I didn't get here today by myself. People shored me up. There were people before me that paved that street out there and also paved a way for me to recover. I also try to make social statements, words that I put on these posters, talking about addiction and the promotion of it here in this country, and using the most famous quotable words, weapons of mass destruction, and looking for them. So it's a little poke at government, if you will. Found weapons of mass destruction, and these are all liquor bottles from around the neighborhood that I put onto this sign. It's to show what's happened here in Michigan and the world, if you will. Of let's clean up our own first before we try to go find these weapons of mass destruction. I believe that the world is going to hit a bottom, and that's what it'll take for us to wake up as human beings to understand that we are human, and that we are mortal, and that we need each other.